racist country. Australia and we are living the racist country. They are racist. Australians are very racist. Did you know that? This is one of the racist country. I've heard these sentiments about Australia and Australians many times over the years with numerous messages that I've received over the past years and highlighting Australians' alleged racism. I distance myself from the judgment about the people and leaders of this country as I believe racism exists in various governments globally, viewing it as a societal ailment. I can honestly say I've been living here in Australia half of my life. Over the past 19 years, I've never encountered a racist person here. Should it happen one day? I don't know, maybe. But I know how to defend myself. It's important to distinguish between the racist behavior and personal misbehavior in Australia, as some may be conflicting the two. It's crucial for many to understand the true meaning of racism and who qualifies as a racist. Drawing from talking about myself over the past 19 years in Australia, I've observed racism primarily among immigrants in this country. Many migrants, indifferent to their country of origin, tend to avoid socializing with fellow countrymen as if it is a significant transgression. I don't understand why. Consider this scenario. An Iranian individual or Indian individual with heavy accent, much like others from various nationalities, visits a shop, visits a bank. The seller or cashier, perhaps having a bad day for any reason, like all of us have, like something we all experience, doesn't exhibit friendly behavior towards an Indian, Arab, American, Chinese, Iranian, anyone else. This situation promotes quick judgment. Later that day, in a conversation with their friends, they may complain about the unfriendly treatment, then accuse that person of being racist, of racism. In 90% of cases, this is the misinterpretation. The issue lies in perception, not with that person involved. You can find racist people everywhere on the planet, and it's very important how you act and react. Racism manifests when an employee explicitly expresses disdain for your skin color, nationality, language, or culture, refusing service based on being an Indian, Iranian, American, African, French, blah 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 blah. In such example, immediate defense of your rights is crucial, rather than assuming a victim or acting like a victim or in a victim role and complaining later. Weaknesses against injustice and discrimination becomes the problem, not a salesperson or bank employee. As I said, you can find them everywhere. Some migrants in Australia try to forcefully impose their culture and religion, leading to conflicts with Australians who, when resisting, they're labeled as racist. Choosing to migrate implies acceptance of cultural differences. Complaining about the cultural differences in a new country like Australia might be misplaced if the decision to move was made with insufficient understanding. Just imagine some Australian tourists entering Iran and expecting acceptance for practice normal in their country, but facing opposition. Calling Iranians racist when they resist reflect a misunderstanding. Every country has its unique culture and laws, whether deemed right or wrong. If you migrate without recognizing this, the challenge lies with you, not the locals or the country you've chosen. I believe every individual worldwide can choose whether to be racist or not, as there exists a percentage of racism in all of us, in all nationalities, undeniable by anyone. It's crucial to not generalize the term racism to an entire nationality based on the action of the group or individual. Many people lack the understanding of who is racist and how to assert their rights, often encountering challenges. For instance, I find difficult, I'm just sharing my own experience, difficult to build connections with Chinese. Generally, they are not perceived as warm individuals, and the significant issue here is their limited proficiency in English. Well, it's noted that the older generation of Chinese migrants often, refrains from socializing or integrating with other nationalities. When discussion about racism and race in Australia is frequently among those who immigrated in the middle age or after the age of 30. English serves as a universal language, yet the challenge arises when migrants, particularly with the limited information and language skills, feel isolated upon arrival in a country like Australia. Loneliness and isolation aren't the fault of locals. I've encountered many migrants who, due to cultural limitations and language barriers, interpret the situations personally. They take everything personal and accuse Australians of racism. When entering a country significantly different from your own country, it's important not to questioning everything about that country, its benefits and its people. We don't do that in China or in Iran, America. Why are you doing this here? Well, because you're in different countries. So, for a couple of years and just try to understand. Imposing religion, particularly by some religious extremists, is noteworthy, as attempting to force others into religious tendencies is met with resistance. The Australian government and its people and community generally do not accept any form of religious imposition or propaganda. Practicing religion is acceptable, but it is expected to be done in private, behind the closed doors, without imposing beliefs on others. So there's nothing wrong with that. I refer to many migrants as profit-seeking individuals who move to exploit the benefits of the country, attempting to replicate practice from their home country upon arrival. However, laws and social norms in new country may oppose to such action, regardless of whether you come from a first or third world country or nation. Immigrating goes beyond changing location and work and just move. It signifies as a pursuit of basic civil, social, and individual rights, not enjoyed in the birth country. The decision to migrate is driven by a quest for better future and life, and the desire for a more fulfilling future and life. Australians generally refers to those living and born here in this country, excluding the indigenous people who are the original and true people of this country. They are the original inhabitants. Indigenous people can't be easily found in cities, and personal encounter may vary, but it's not common to be attacked or subjected to racism by them at all. As a filmmaker and critic, I've expressed just my views on Australia's culture, social, civil, and political aspects. Yet, I want to highlight that I have not faced criticism or attacks from Australians for my personal choices, such as appearing with makeup, or being gay, or being, partially kind of naked or unclothed in my videos. In my experience, Australians respect personal choices and freedom of expression most of the time. Unfortunately, I've often faced severe abuses and threats from fellow immigrants, particularly from my countrymen, due to their cultural poverty. This is because I came from a country called Iran, a country struggled by cultural backwardness and widespread racism. Many Iranians who've been living in developed countries, including Australia, for many years, unable to speak English, often harbor high expectations. I'm particularly talking about those who come to Australia by boat. This is despite not receiving support from the government when they lived in Iran, No, they're frequently complaining, expecting the Australian government and people to cater to all their physical, psychological, and cultural needs. This raises a question: who guaranteed you such a permission? These are the same people who discriminate against thousands of Afghan migrants in Iran. In this video, I express general sentiments without the ability to civilly and individually defend your rights against discrimination. Is challenging to lead peaceful, enjoyable, and safe life anywhere on this planet. While my intention isn't to endorse the country and people of Australia, I find it's necessary to speak out against injustice often attributed to Australians. Racism is disease, and it raises the question: why haven't the voices of the Australian people been heard regarding the abnormal behavior of different nationalities so far? Particularly many refugees who keep making lots of troubles and problems in this country. Many nationalities migrating to Australia from third world countries living as refugees have relied on government benefits and support for years. Some engage in illegal work while receiving government funds, and deceptive practices are employed to security residency. The Immigration Department has recognized these issues, but the negative impact is evident in how it affects the country's perception towards real refugees and migrants. Unfortunately, there are individuals falsely claiming refugee status, concealing criminals' histories. They obtain residency and get Australian passport after becoming permanent residents and citizen through deceptive means, often returning to their home country. Why? You're asking for help. Your life were in danger in your region countries. Why? I will talk about that in the next future videos. These deceptive immigrants and fake refugees often have boundless expectations, pointing fingers of accusation and racism toward Australian people. When you walk on the streets here in Australia, you hear more than hundreds of different languages and accents, and no one objects to this, because one of the positive points of this country is having more than almost 400 different nationalities with different dialects and languages. Unfortunately, many of you do not have enough knowledge and understanding of the word racism, and many of you who protest, and if you have experienced racism in this country, do not know how to answer that racist person and stand up for your rights. The term racist is frequently misused as a form of abuse against individuals or groups. I've often observed that Australians in general, I'm just talking in general and this is my perception, are quite indifferent and inexperienced because they never experienced such things like war or any harsh situation. I'm not talking about the COVID. However, being indifferent doesn't imply unkindness. In fact, many Australians are lovely individuals. While it's true that Australians historically enslaved Aboriginal people, it's crucial to focus on 24th century reality. Today, Indigenous are acknowledged as the true inhabitants of this country, and Australia is recognized for its beauty and positive aspects. However, it's essential to address that to overcome lingering cultural backwardness. Accusing someone of racism should be done with care, as using the term lightly may indicate a lack of understanding or, in some cases, reflect one's own biases. The right behavior between individuals isn't necessarily racism, it's just inappropriate behavior. Racist actions can be legally challenged, and not doing so makes system from concern about job security or social standing, which isn't always valid. In my case, as a critical person owing nothing to anyone, so when I'm just talking about truth, and I've addressed such issues. So I am not supporting or talking bullshit. I'm just talking about the truth As always in my videos, racism involves discrimination and prejudice based on race or ethnicity. It can manifest in social, political, or cultural systems supporting discriminatory prejudice rooted in dislike or prejudice towards someone's skin color, nationality, culture, gender, sexual orientation, religion, language, or accent. In my opinion, those who are labeled others as a racist often portray themselves as perpetual victims, reflecting a difficulty in defending their rights. It's crucial for individuals to learn how to assert their rights and not perpetuate a victim mentality in their personal lives. Standing up against racism is essential as it's a pervasive issue found in various societies and countries. It's important to address it collectively and empower individually to advocate for their rights.